Zone B captured. You have advantage. What can stop you if you fight together? Nothing.
Why hello there, I am Ironworker814 and welcome back to my channel. On February 20th of 2020, Bungie released their This Week at Bungie update, outlining some major upcoming changes in the next season, Season of Worthy. Let me just quick start off by saying news updates are not my thing. I'm not big on covering the daily happenings around Destiny 2. I'm more into making guides for average players, below average players, low skill players. That's kind of more my thing. But I feel that the information that they have in this TWAB could help people, so I want to put it out there. There are a slew of tweaks to generally every weapon class in the game. We have snipers being changed, grenade launchers, they're touching Lord of Wolves, Last Word, shotguns, fusions, and auto rifles, which is going to be the meat and potatoes of this discussion. But before we get into that, let's just briefly touch on the other weapon archetypes first. So, snipers. Looks like they're getting a blanket damage reduction in PvE. And in PvP, rapid fire frame sniper rifles will no longer 2-tap, and adaptive frame sniper rifles probably will not be able to headshot you out of your super anymore. The Izanagi's Burden. On top of being affected by these damage reductions, they are replacing Outlaw with no distractions. Therefore, your quick reload is going to be a thing of the past. Is it still going to be viable? I think so. It's in the primary slot, it takes special ammo, and when you get Hone Edge procced, it still does damage. But we'll see what happens in the upcoming season. Grenade launchers. They will be taking a 10% damage reduction to majors, and the aggressive frame grenade launchers are now going to be called rapid fire frame grenade launchers. I suppose just to bring the name in line with what they do. They shoot lots of grenades very rapidly. Next up we have Lord of Wolves. Losing some accuracy when Release the Wolves is procced. They want it to be more of a closer range weapon, so I'm hoping that they will reduce the range when Lord of Wolves is procced also, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Next up is the Last Word. They move things around pretty good on this one. Okay, for your precision shots, when you are hip firing, you're doing just slightly more damage, and when you are aiming down sights, they are taking 15 damage per shot away. Now for your body shots, they were doing 50 regardless whether you were firing from the hip or aiming down sight. They are now going to be doing 38. The range of this weapon was also brought down. You are no longer getting a range buff when aiming down sights, and when firing from the hip, your effective range has been decreased. Stability for mouse and keyboard input is reduced, but they adjusted the way target acquisition is handled when firing from the hip. We'll have to wait and see how that affects things. I love these nerfs to Lord of Wolves and Last Word. It was absolutely infuriating getting burst down way outside of shotgun range when a guy had Release the Wolves proc. And getting fan fired down by the Last Word, I know the precision hip fire damage is remaining the same, but that body damage taking a hit by 12 is really going to make things nice for us auto and pulse rifle users. Because I feel like this gun was kind of stepping on our toes, you know? It was, you could get a better time to kill with the Last Word aiming at the body than you could with an auto rifle. Because that's what we do with an auto rifle, right? We aim at the body, we let it pull up to the head, hit some criticals in the head, and hopefully put the enemy down. If you were going up against the Last Word, this just wasn't going to work. The Last Word was too strong. Next on the docket, we have shotguns. Range is going to be based on the archetype of the weapon now. So I would assume that the slower the shotgun fires, the more range it will have. Also, we're getting kind of an ease of use buff. It was saying that shotguns tended to pull toward the head to try to land a critical shot, which obviously you do not want with shotguns. You want to hit set or mass, get all those pellets in your target, so this should improve shotgun play. 4 fusion rifles. Generally just a flat out range nerf on them. They're also getting the same treatment the shotguns did, where they were trying to pull toward a precision shot with the target acquisition. They are no longer going to do that, so if you aim at the body, it should stay on the body. Also, backup plan is being adjusted, where the charge time may be a little less when you have backup plan activated, but your bolts are going to be doing considerably less damage. Now, with all that out of the way, we are on to auto rifles. When I heard auto rifles were being buffed, this is what really made my ears perk up. The last time I remember auto rifles even being close to the top of the meta was Year 1 Destiny 2. Maybe way back in Destiny 1 when Suros regime was a monster. But yeah, Year 1 of Destiny 2. I mean, and basically it was the 450 auto rifles, specifically the Uriel's gift. It was a monster, it had range, it had damage, everyone was using it. Since that point, there's been several different metas, none of which involved auto rifles. And I'm glad to see them getting brought up because they are your basic first-person shooter weapon. There's an auto rifle of some variant in probably every first-person shooter you've ever played. It's a great entry point for new players, great weapon to pick up for casual players, and low-skill players can make it work in almost any situation. So this getting a little attention is a good thing for the game in my opinion. Real quick here, we'll just go through the damage numbers for the archetypes of auto rifles. High impacts, which are your 360 round per minute. They are going to 22 to the body, 35 to the head. Precision frames, 17 to the body, 27 to the head. The adaptive frames, 15 and 3/4 to the body, 25.2 to the head. That's a pretty significant bump there. Was previously 13 and 3/4 to the body and 22 to the head. So that's an increase of 2 damage in your body shot and an increase of 3 damage in your criticals. Then your rapid fire frames, your 720s. It was 12.5 to the body and 18 and 3/4 to the head. Those are being moved up to 13.5 to the body and 20 to the head. So, while the slower 2 archetypes are not doing a whole lot different than they were previously, the 600s and the 720s got a pretty substantial bump. And you might look at it like, hey, Ironworker, it's a couple damage points. What's that matter? Well, when you're a low skill player and you're using an auto rifle, remember your job is to support your team. And the more damage you can get on a target, the more defeats you're going to rack up in that match. Now, are these changes going to jump the time to kill value on these adaptive frame and rapid fire frame auto rifles through the roof? Probably not. It's going to be more of an ease of use thing. You're going to be able to get away with landing more body shots and less precision shots to obtain the same time to kill as you would in its current state. All in all, if you're an auto rifle user, you should be very happy with these changes. Because when I look at these damage numbers, I automatically think about it in a team shot situation. You know, you and your buddy are putting damage on an enemy, and he sneaks around the corner with just that sliver of health yet. It's very, very frustrating. You just wish he would have went down, and he got away from you. With these damage increases, that guy probably won't get away. March 10th is when all these changes are going to be implemented. We'll have to wait till then to kind of feel out how these changes are affecting the weapons. Because for me, it's more about how things are feeling rather than looking at the damage numbers on paper. If you're one of those players who tends not to gravitate toward auto rifles, come March 10th, you might want to pick one up and try it. They could be fairly strong. But you might want to pick one up now. There's no harm in getting a baseline for a side-by-side comparison to see if you think the weapons are feeling a little better after all these changes go into place. And if you kind of like it, and these auto rifles are slaying out in the new meta, hey, you're one step ahead of the curve. So I think I've rambled on long enough about damage values and weapon archetypes and time to kills. These are just my opinions on what things may look like come the next season. Feel free to disagree with me down in the comments. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to hear more from me. And thank you for your viewership. It means the world to me. I'll see you on the next one.